This is Silph Radio, a Pokemon podcast. I'm Nathan K.
And I'm Briana Joy.
And today we're going to be talking about...
fan theories.
Pokemon fan theories. Not just general fan theories. That would be weird. People would be like, why are you talking about fan theories about Inception on Silph Radio?
There's so many theories.
As usual, this is a podcast for adults. We can't stress that enough, so children, go away.
We say fuck a lot.
So a lot of these people might already be familiar with. We're covering a lot of the main ones. There might be a few that you haven't heard. There's a lot of them are really convincing. Some of them are kind of bullshit. We're going to be talking about the game, and we're going to talk about the television show. But before we get into that, this is your third time here as a guest on the show, and I'm interested. I don't think we've ever talked about this, and it helps me gauge the type of person people are, and same thing for our listeners, because everybody that is a Pokemon fan has thought about it. If you haven't thought about it, you're not a Pokemon fan. Like, who's your team? Like, I don't mean on the game, but like if you lived in the Pokemon universe, what would your team of Pokemon be?
See, there's like 800 now, so it's so hard because I go from like all the series and just like all the different kinds of Pokemon, all the generations, and I have a good mix, I think.
It is hard. I feel like most people, it's easy to list the first 5, and then you get to the 6th, and you're like,
right.
Fuck, now I have to narrow it down out of like 800 to this one.
See, I have like 3 that are always the same, but the rest of them change. Like I want to have like all the different types.
I'm kind of like that too.
Yeah, because like you have to have your strengths and your weaknesses.
I mean,
you know?
Everyone should try to have a fair balance of types, but I'm kind of like that with like there's like 3 or 4 that stay the same, and then the other 2 or 3 are being rotated.
Exactly. Yep. Oh my gosh. Even in the games, that's how we play it. Like that's how I do anyway. I keep switching out like 2 or 3. And like 3 of them are always with me no matter what. So, I don't know. I'd have to start with Squirtle. Squirtle, as a kid, was my absolute favorite. For my 7th birthday, I had a Squirtle-themed birthday party. And I walked around going like, Squirtle, Squirtle, like the entire day. And I look back.
Squirtle.
Yeah, I like look back at the video. I'm like, oh my God. But it was great. Like the neighbor kids, they took my dad's guitar and they played the Jigglypuff song and like that voice. It was hysterical. So I was a Squirtle maniac as a kid.
So it would be a Squirtle. It probably wouldn't be an evolved. You don't see it ever really like evolving.
Nope. I'd give it an Everstone. Always a Squirtle.
But I want to evolve.
Squirtle would be like
fucking stay a Squirtle and like it.
Squirtle would be like my Pikachu. You know what I mean? Like it would always waddle around with me. I could picture Squirtle like waddling around. It's so cute. His little legs.
Squirtle is great. That's one thing I love about the starter Pokemon in the first gen is that I love all 3 of them. Like that's the only generation I think that all 3 of them are just fucking awesome.
I know what you mean because like, and maybe it's because we're so used to them being like displayed. Like some of the evolutions of like the new starters, like some of them get a little weird.
Yeah, the new gen, I love all 3 of them in their baby forms.
Yeah, and then they
didn't evolve the direction I thought they were going to.
You know,
I love Greninja.
Not Braixen. Delphox just pulls a stick of fire out of her ass. Like, come on. Like, okay, like that's kind of cool, but kind of weird.
I had an uncle that did that, and it was
and then there's like
a little disturbing.
Ninja Frog. Frogadier.
I love the Ninja Frog.
Not Frogadier. I'm sorry, Greninja. Right. I keep going with like the second evolution because I'm watching the X and Y series. The last episode, Ash just went up against the fairy gym leader. So it was pretty cool, but like I'm just remembering like the names of their Pokemon they have now. But yeah, like and then there's Chestnut, which is like this giant like sumo wrestler grass armadillo thing. Like I don't know what's going on.
Well, they're almost like somebody pointed out to me that it's kind of like a ninja or a thief or a rogue and a warrior or a knight or a soldier.
I could see that going.
And a witch or a sorceress or a wizard. Like that those are the 3 kind of archetypes they're working with there.
One thing I have to say is I'm very happy that they gave them dual types. Like, for example, Fennekin is fire psychic. or becomes fire psychic, and then Chespin is like what was it? Was Chespin grass and
fighting, right?
I think so. Yeah, grass and fighting.
Because it's the psychic fighting dark trio that fans have been asking for. They finally got it.
Right. So yeah, that definitely works out. Like, it works out really well because you have a huge type advantage, and it makes the game easier, but it's still fun to play. You know, if you've ever played X and Y.
But it still doesn't make it easier once you actually get into being competitive with other live Pokemon trainers that aren't
and
NPCs.
That's the thing. And, like, I do so well in the game that when I play against someone else, I lose.
You're all cocky.
I'm just like,
you're like,
God,
you can't beat me. I've beaten every trainer I've ever encountered.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, that's right. So have they.
That's like, all right. So my next one.
So we only got one Pokemon so far, huh?
Yeah.
Squirtle. Okay.
we trailed off.
Is Squirtle your starter?
Squirtle is my starter.
So Squirtle would have been your first Pokemon?
Yes.
And
my God. Hell yeah.
Yet still under-evolved.
I was going to say, can we do legendaries in this too?
No, you can't have legendaries.
Okay. Well, if I could, I would pick Suicune because Suicune is my absolute favorite.
Okay. Cool. One of the legendary dog cat things.
Yep.
You know, there's a fan theory that I don't have on the schedule to discuss today about that trio, Entei, Suicune, and Raikou, that they were originally Eevees, or Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon.
I've heard that. And then they got trapped in the burning building. What building was that?
So that's what the legend is, that the building had been struck by lightning or whatever, was burning down, and then Ho-Oh gave them the powers of fire, ice, and lightning, right?
Ho-Oh revived them.
Or fire, water.
Fire. It's ice.
It's ice. And yeah, and in that town is also like the theater where the kimono girls.
Yes.
are.
I know what you're talking about.
And there's a lot of Eevees.
It's not Ekritique.
Is it Ekritique?
It might be Ekritique. Now that I think about it, if I'm wrong, forgive me. But it's been a while since I played Gold and Silver.
But no, you can't have Suicune on your party. Sorry.
It's amazing. I want to ride it through the trees. Okay. Anyway, the next one that doesn't change would be Flareon. Flareon is like just so fluffy and like fiery, and I don't know. Whenever I would get an Eevee, I would evolve it into a Flareon.
It's the weakest of the three, but like supposedly.
Well, Mr. Technical.
Supposedly, Flareon's a worthless Pokemon.
See, the way I see it is, it's more about like, because I'm going to be spending all my time with these guys.
Exactly.
I would rather have a companion than a battling friend. You know what I'm saying?
I respect that, because everybody picks their Pokemon based on like which ones are most powerful, and if your favorite isn't one of the more powerful ones, you're just fucked then.
They have all their own qualities. I mean, it's like picking up a kitten. You don't pick like the one that's like beating the shit out of the other kittens, you know? You pick the cute fluffy one that keeps purring. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, Flareon is an awesome Pokemon. I also imagine that in universe, you know what I mean? It's not like you're going to lose to everyone because you have a Flareon, and you know, like
I wonder if it's like if its coat is like hot to touch. You know what I mean? Because you know it's like a fire Pokemon.
Right.
Is its like fluffy coat like searing hot? Like, would you like burn your hand off if you touched it?
It probably is pretty hot. I don't know if it would burn, like you can't even cuddle with it without burning yourself.
Or like it feels like freaking steel wool because it has to be like flame retardant. You're like, oh God, you're stabbing me. Can you imagine cuddling with one of those? Oh God. Okay, well, in my head, I'll picture a cute, fluffy Flareon. The next one is actually a newer one, Serperior, which is the final evolution of Snivy.
Yeah.
I think Serperior, it's an awesome grass type, just totally badass. It like slithers through like a snake, and it's very elegant. You know, I love teaching Mind Frenzy Plant because it goes nuts. Like, it knocks out like so many Pokemon. It's amazing.
Yeah, Serperior is cool. Who did I choose that gen? There was Snivy,
Tepig, and Oshawott.
Never mind. I got Oshawott. But Snivy is cool.
Yeah.
Serperior, excuse me.
Nice. It's all good. And then the other one that kind of sticks around with me is Sylveon. Like, I would love to have like a shiny Sylveon, because
Sylveon's cool. Oh,
because it's blue.
Yeah, shiny Sylveon's adorable. Absolutely.
Yes. And it's like fucking tough too. Like, you can, you know, if you teach it like I think it's like Moonblast. I don't remember. I don't remember if I don't have it right in front of me. But if you teach it like that move, it's just freaking awesome.
Moonblast. It sounds like an unused like Gatorade flavor.
Yeah, whatever.
Arctic Freeze.
Sitting in the back of a gas station. Oh, man. So yeah, I mean, those are like my top 3, and then like the next ones kind of shift around a bit, but I would say.
So wait, the top 3.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Squirtle, Flareon, and
Superior.
No, we'll go with Sylveon.
Oh, and Sylveon.
Yeah, because sometimes I switch out Superior for Meganium because Meganium has this awesome flower around its neck and it's like a freaking little foot running around. And then the next one I pick would be Ampharos, which is the final evolution of Mareep, the little sheep. It's like the yellow
absolutely.
guy.
Ampharos.
His mega evolution is hysterical with like the freaking white, like flowing hair. Like,
I absolutely love Ampharos, and a fan theory back in the day, the original fan theories, when Gold and Silver were just like these things that were coming out soon in Japan and the internet was still young, so we didn't have reliable information.
Right.
Everybody thought Ampharos was going to be an electric dragon type.
Oh, shit.
And
that
we were
makes
like,
sense.
that Pokemon looks so cool. None of us had any idea that it was a sheep. When the game came out, we found out it was like sheep, Ampharos. It's just a sheep without wool.
What
we were
the
like,
fuck?
what the fuck? We were so pissed that like, because we had built it up in our heads like it's going to be a legendary, or if it's not a legendary, it's going to be like Dragonite, the almost legendary, which is badass. And we're like, we're all going to have an Ampharos, but it was Denryu was what we called it because that was its Japanese name, Denryu.
Right.
But those were the days we also called Meryl, Pika-Blue.
Well, don't feel bad because the neighbor boys convinced me that Pupitar was pronounced Pupitar, and I believed it as a kid. And I'm just like, why would they name it that? But as an adult, I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
like a pupa.
Well-
Pupitar is probably how I would pronounce it.
Well, they pronounce it like poop, like Poopitar. And they were just like dicking with me. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Anyway, you know, we all believe interesting things.
Poopitar is kind of like a keytar, except it's what the guys at Nickelback play.
Oh shit.
Okay, go on.
Everyone hating on Nickelback. So yeah, I would name it Amphi because I don't know if you remember Jasmine the Steel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that her name, Jasmine?
And she had the relationship with the
Ampharos in the lighthouse.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
and
I'm pretty sure it's Jasmine.
I'm pretty sure the nickname was Amphi.
Oh, okay.
So I just liked it. It was a
like
cute
named
nickname.
in that hero's honor. That's cool.
Yeah, Amphi. And then this the sixth one. I had to pick one, but I think Rapidash is pretty awesome.
Rapidash is pretty awesome.
I would love to ride it through the forest.
I'm
I like to ride a lot of Pokemon through the forest, apparently.
So, where would do you have any idea where your character would be from? Like what town or region or
I don't know. Like it's hard to say. I wouldn't mind starting out in Kalos. In the Kalos region, because for one, Professor Sycamore is like fucking awesome. Like he's hot as hell, and like I bet all the girls are crushing on him. I don't know. I would like to start out in Kalos.
starter town?
Yeah, whatever. I don't remember.
Sycamore's. Wait, was Professor Sycamore in the second town though in Kalos?
Yes.
He wasn't in your town.
He was in Lumio City.
Lumio City. Okay.
I don't remember the name of the town because, like, I think Little Root, Palette, and like a bunch of other names, but it's not the right one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You get mixed up because there's like so many series.
Oh my god,
now.
I can't keep anything straight that's not Kanto.
I mean, like the gym leaders, like it's harder now.
There's just so much to keep up with. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm old. I'm like 30 now. So I'm like, these Pokemans. I caught myself calling them Pokemans the other day. No, I didn't.
Oh my God, Nathan, not you.
It's like, oh God, it's starting.
Not that.
I'm getting old. Give it to me straight, Doc.
But yeah, I would love to just run around with my Pokemon all day. Like,
what would be your aspiration if you just lived there? Because you don't have to just do what the game tells you to do, which is, go travel, beat the Elite Four.
I would be a breeder.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that'd be cool. Try to find somewhere to settle down and just breed.
Black market breeding.
Oh, okay. Now you're like, no, I'd get in
Chinese
Team
only.
Rocket.
The rest of you guys beat it. Just kidding. No, I think it would be really cool though to like have a fucking Poke playground and like have like little Ponytas like fucking sliding down slides and shit. Like that'd be kind of cool.
I don't know
little
if that's
Eevees running around.
I don't know if horses would be. You can bring a horse to a slide, but you can't make them slide down it.
Challenge accepted. Oh.
All right, so fan theories.
Oh, so freaking many.
There are so many. I think we each have about 4 or 5 or something. I don't even count. But I figured we'd try to cover some of the more major, obvious ones, and then save some of the more out there ones for future installments of fan theories. There's so many to go around.
I'm sure there's some crazy ones out there that we haven't seen yet. So
I guess we can we should vote, even though there's only 2 of us. But after each one, gauge what we think the legitimacy is to this claim.
Right. And we should also do like the pros and cons, like what's agreeable with this and what's just far-fetched and insane.
Far-fetched.
I know, it's your favorite.
All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is a little bit dark. This is one of those darker fan theories. I assume you have a few too.
I'm sure.
I'm sure you're familiar with some of these, and I'm familiar with some of the ones you probably put on your list of TV fan theories.
Just for starters, Nate's going to be doing the game theories, and I'm going to be doing the show theories. So we'll give you a nice little mix of that.
Yeah, we thought maybe we'd go back and forth, but that would just get confusing and weird.
Right.
So we're going to do games first, then the TV show. So the first one we're talking about is the theory about Blue's Radicate.
Ah, this one. Okay.
So the idea here, basically your rival in the original Red and Blue games, we call him Blue because the main character's generally depicted as red, and because in Gold and Silver he's a gym leader and he's named Blue. So that's taken to be his canon name. Blue, no matter what you name him, maybe you named him Dickhead, I don't know, like a lot of people did. Dickhead gets a Rattata just before you face him at Nugget Bridge. Through most of the game, he keeps a lot of his Pokemon. And the Rattata is there, and then the next time you face him, it becomes Eradicate. Like, when you face him at Nugget Bridge, he has a Rattata. And then the next time you face him, he has Eradicate. But then when you run into him again, he doesn't have the Raticate anymore.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, this could just be like, okay, well, he switched out his Pokemon. But there are some interesting coincidences that make it a little more interesting. So that one time that you fight him and he has Eradicate is on the SS Anne.
Okay.
You guys are not near any Pokemon Center, and you beat him, probably mercilessly, as one does in these games.
To progress, you have to, yes.
The rumor is that you're responsible for his Raticate dying.
I'd believe it. Do they actually, all right, now explain to me how that would work.
Well, the theory is you just beat the games were a lot less defined. And they did mention, they were darker too. They mentioned Pokemon death. It almost seems like they had created those first couple games with a little bit of a broader, different idea of the way the world was than we see in the show and the manga.
Right. It's definitely probably a darker take compared to the two.
Yeah. I guess, you beat it. And he's not able to get it to a Pokemon Center in time because you're on this ship. There's all this chaos going on the ship. And then you have to get off and get to Vermilion City and get to the Pokemon Center.
Don't you love all the thought that people put into these? Like, you would never think someone would care about this Raticate.
This is why because the next time you see him and he doesn't have the Raticate is at the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town, where people bring their Pokemon to go to rest.
Oh, shit.
And when you talk to him, what he says is, "Hey, Red, what brings you here? Your Pokemon don't look dead. I can at least make them faint. Let's go, pal." And then you fight.
Oh, my God.
Like, you don't Pokemon battle. Then you just fight. Your sprites are all like...
So he's probably spiteful as fuck because you
Pokemon
killed his
battle.
Red. Oh, my God. He's spiteful as fuck.
That's the theory. Because he says, what are you doing here? Your Pokemon don't look dead, implying that he has a reason to be there.
That's yeah, I know what you're saying. That's wow. Okay, I can see how that would connect. People are so smart sometimes.
But it's also possible that he just switched Raticate out because Raticate's a normal type and he'd be useless in the tower.
I mean, technically, if he just brought it to a Pokemon Center in the game, it would be revived and in the box anyway.
Because it just fainted, yeah.
It's not like, oh, it fainted, I'm just going to throw it in the trash can, peace out. Like, come on.
But it's looking at it with that's a game mechanic frame of mind, and maybe it actually did get the shit beat out of it and was dying. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna read too deep into this, maybe he just switched it out because normal types aren't good against ghost types.
Makes sense.
Or he could have just came to the tower to catch a Cubone because that's what he said he came there for, and maybe he wasn't.
He needed a sixth member of his team because one apparently died.
Well, I'm saying I was offering this as a counterpoint, but no, maybe he was like, I need a Cubone now to replace my Raticate. I need a brown Pokemon on the team.
It looks just like Ratty. That'd be kind of a shitty nickname, Ratty.
Make him wear a Rattata skull?
What the fuck, dude? I don't think it would fit.
What the fuck, dude? You're just crossing the line. And then Blue killed Joey's Rattata.
Joey totally
right?
deserved it. That little shit is causing nothing but trouble.
And that's why when you see Joey again, and he's like, my Rattata's top tier, but he has Eradicate, and you're like, Joey, it's not a Rattata anymore, sweetheart. That's
he's
why.
in denial of the evolution.
Because it's different, and he's remembering his original Rattata who died as a Rattata, and he's like, no, my Rattata. It's like some Norman Bates shit. He's got like okay. Anyway.
I wonder what Joey does on his days off. I wonder what his life is like outside the starter city challenging every new trainer and getting his ass whooped. There's got to be something more to him than that.
So what do you think of this theory, Brianna? What's your analysis of this? Did Blue's Raticate die?
I mean, I'm a skeptic, but, a lot of things add up to it. I think it's kind of cool that someone took the time to just think this whole thing out. I mean, I'm appreciative of all these theories because they're fucking awesome in their own right. Some of them are a little far-fetched, pokey humor, but it's cool. I give props to the guy that wrote it, but I'm a little skeptical.
So I guess there's a couple different ways to take this: authorial intent and legitimate fan interpretation. Like, I think sometimes there are fan interpretations of works that are just like, oh yeah, oh totally, exactly, that makes so much sense, and maybe the author didn't intend it, but I would still consider it legitimate because it's like, I'm sorry, man, but that makes way too much sense, and I think the fans are right. And if the author says that's not, then he's wrong.
Exactly.
Then he's wrong. He wrote it with that without realizing he was writing. You know what I mean?
It could go either way.
I'm trying to think of a good example of something like that, and I can't off the top of my head, but there are plenty. And this, I don't think that... I think I'm going to lean towards it wasn't intended by the developers. Now, it could have been. It's not the most far-fetched thing.
They do imagine. Sneak in a lot of things in the games that it takes a couple plays to really get... Just one example briefly, the Ghost Girl. She appears in a couple games.
I think... Yeah, that's new, and that's really crazy.
I think they did that on purpose. Of course they did that on purpose. Like, everyone knows about it. It's part of the gameplay.
And there are other things in, like, the story or the character designs or the Pokemon designs that, like, are so subtle but almost obvious that it's like, oh, yeah, the developers did intend that, didn't they? And it's just, you don't notice it right off the bat. I'm going to lean towards I don't think this one is. And as far as... it being true regardless of authorial intent, I don't think so. I don't think Red accidentally killed Raticate.
I agree. I mean, because, just bring it to a Pokemon Center.
Let's consider this one debunked.
All right.
Next, speaking of Cubones, we were speaking of Cubones. Bad segue, because it was like a while ago that we were speaking of Cubones. Have you heard the fan theory about Cubone and Cubone's possible original... evolution line or
I have, yes.
mythology?
Basically, it has something to do with Kangaskhan, and I believe that it's Kangaskhan's baby
that's the theory.
Is the Cubone. That's what I've heard.
Basically, Cubone is supposed to wear its mother's skull, that its mother died, and so it wears its mother's skull. And Kangaskhan is the mother Pokemon. Like, that's what it's known as, is like the mother Pokemon. It's a marsupial. It's like, that may have been its species classification even. If not, it's definitely mentioned in its fucking Pokedex entry. Yeah,
it's definitely plausible. I mean, if you just look at Kangaskhan and you look at its head and you look at Cubone's skull, it's very similar.
Yes, their designs, their body shape and colors are similar.
And if you look at the pouch, it looks a lot like Cubone.
Yeah, the little baby in there, except that it's like purple, but like its head shape is similar. Kangaskhan and Cubones and Marowaks are found together in the rock tunnel in Johto and a few other places in the wild. So like it could have been like Cubone evolves to Marowak, evolves to Kangaskhan. Or it could have been just that they're hinting that if a Kangaskhan were to die, its baby would become a Cubone. And
or
that's
maybe
where
a
Cubones
Slowpoke
come
has
from.
to bite its tail.
Kind of like that
or
type
a
of
Shelter,
thing.
yeah.
If a Kangaskhan dies, the baby becomes a Cubone. And then the Cubone evolves to a Marowak, and the Marowak never evolves to a Kangaskhan.
So basically, every Cubone is a widowed, or, they're a grieving baby Kangaskhan.
That's kind of what the theory is.
I could picture it. They turn brown because they just get really sad because their mom's gone. And
it also helps to understand the way that like Japanese mythology works. Animals and yokai. I think we talked in our last episode about yokai, right? They're like these spirits. They're basically like Pokemon. They're like spirits of the wild that represent different things that are kind of like characters. And it also helps. It's similar to like Native American mythology where, for example, there's the character known as the Tanuki, which a Tanuki is an animal. It's like a raccoon dog, and it's called a Tanuki.
Okay.
And there's also a mythological person, a character named Tanuki, which is the animal, and it has magical powers and it does things.
I would love to read up on that stuff. It just sounds fascinating.
They also consider Tanukis in mythology to be kind of like, have you heard about kitsunes and how like Japanese...
No, not really.
Okay, I know you watch a lot of anime, and it's big in like Naruto, I think. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of them.
I
but
haven't
I know
seen Naruto, to be honest with you.
I just know it has a presence in a lot of animes. But like the same thing in Native American mythology, there's like coyote. When they talk about coyote, like in their myths, they could be talking about the character coyote. They could be talking about the entire species of coyote and representing it with one individual because it's a myth, sort of like those how the butterfly got its wings myths and stuff,
Right,
you know?
right.
Or they could be just discussing a coyote. Like it's kind of the same in Japanese mythology. So when they say Cubone, like they could be speaking of the race of Cubones or just the mythical solitary figure of Cubone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get where you're going.
This isn't the way that Pokemon's developed, but when it was first created, it was a lot, like I said, the world was a lot more looser, like, and broad. It hadn't
right.
fully...
They were building the fundamental blocks of this world, and they were more flexible with their choices.
Totally. I think they had more of a loose idea of what a Pokemon was and stuff, you know?
Right. I mean, can you imagine how cool that was to just create the concept of Pokemon? Like, that's just amazing. You have to be so smart and creative to create not just a couple characters, but an entire world.
It's interesting, the origins. We're going to do a whole episode. Have you ever heard of capsule monsters?
I don't believe so.
That's what it was originally going to be called. You should Google it.
Because I know pocket monsters, but like capsule monsters was actually the name.
Pocket monsters is what it is called in Japan. Pokemon is the American name. Right. But capsule monsters was what it was going to be called in the initial stages of it being created.
So it could have been Cappymon.
Yeah, Capumon.
That could be taken so many different ways.
It's fascinating to look it up and see like the early sketches of what it was going to be like, and it all has inspiration in like Japanese culture, and we're going to do a whole episode on that, so I don't want to get too deep into it.
Cool deal.
Very cool. But Kangaskhan and Cubone. So with that in mind, it would make sense when they say like Cubone's mother died, you know, and when you show up to Lavender Town and everyone's like Cubone's mother died, and you're like, I went into Lavender Tower and I ran into like 6 Cubones. Why is everybody saying Cubone's mother died like it's one character? I think that has a lot to do with like, if they said Tanuki came into the village and stole our alcohol, they could mean the soul Tanuki or the, you know, like, yeah.
Right. You just got to try to understand like which one they're referring to.
Very mythical, yeah.
Yeah, and the whole translation thing can get a little muddy too, you know, because, you know, we're westernizing it so we can understand it. So it could, you know, it could mean so many different things.
And there's also, it's worth noting that there's code for something to evolve into Kangaskhan. I don't know exactly how this works, but you know the whole deal with like missing no and apostrophe M and stuff.
Right. The code that was that they didn't end up using but still in the game.
Yes. And for some reason, sometimes one of these Pokemon will evolve into a Kangaskhan. And so it's theorized that maybe there was code for something to evolve to Kangaskhan, and they moved that code to an unused slot, and that's how it ended up assigned to missing no.
It's so crazy how that works. Oh. Like the coding and everything and how it can create like I think it was always like intended that it would happen.
So you believe this?
I totally
buy
do.
It.
Oh
Cubone, yeah. You buy that Cubone was, or just that something was?
That Cubone's mother's Kangaskhan.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I buy into, and I also think that it could evolve into it.
I am gonna say I think I'm gonna lean towards yes on this. I'm gonna lean towards yes as far as I think that's what they were originally hinting at,
right.
But I might lean towards no as far as whether or not that's legit canon now. I think that might have been the way they were originally going with it, and then they decided to make them 2 separate Pokemon, and that's what is now.
Right.
But that there's still remnants hinting at what it once could have been had they taken that route. But I believe now we are meant to take them as 2 separate Pokemon.
Right.
Word.
Good deal.
All right, so moving along, we got another video game theory, and this one we're going to maybe branch off into a few different ones. As we were just talking about Cubone and Kangaskhan maybe sharing an evolutionary line, there's some other theories that have to do with evolutionary lines. The main one having to do with Caterpie and Venonat. Are you familiar with this one, Brianna?
I am.
Basically, the idea is Caterpie's evolutionary line and Venonat's evolutionary line were meant to be switched. Basically, as we know it now, Caterpie evolves to Metapod, evolves to Butterfree, and Venonat evolves to Venomoth. But what if I told you that you could take Venomoth and take Butterfree and switch them, and it looked like it made so much more sense?
No way.
Dude, I imagine if you are a fan of Pokemon, you don't even have to look up the pictures. You're just instantly in your head right now like, oh my god, you're right. Because you should be able to conjure images of those at will. Venonat is a baby Butterfree.
It is the eyes. It's the eyes. The
It's the
purple
eyes,
color.
it's the mouth, it's the hands, it's the feet, it's the antenna, it's the color.
Why the fuck did they not put it with Butterfree?
Oh my god, like
It makes like it was meant to be. Like, why did they have to change it? Like, did they just want to fuck with people? Like, hey, this makes perfect sense, but you know what? Let's do something else. Let's make it not make sense.
Well, Venomoth, if you look at it and you look at like Metapod and Caterpie, it kind of fits too. It has the horns.
Right.
Like Caterpie has horns.
It has the
and
same eyes as
Metapod has
Caterpie as
horns,
well.
And Metapod has horns.
And then it looks like Caterpie as well with the eyes.
Yeah, the eyes are the same throughout all three stages. They're big and round with big giant pupils. The early artwork for Venomoth, I'm sorry. I keep saying Venomoth because I'm about to say Venonat, and then I correct myself.
Yep, you got
Venomoth shows yellow rings on its back, the back of its wings.
Okay.
Which Caterpie has yellow rings on its back.
So, I definitely think it was originally intended to be that way.
And it's also paler in color in the original artwork.
Right, yeah.
And if you look in Butterfree's Pokedex, it's listed as white, as its color categorization being white. And Butterfree's clearly not white, it's purple.
Right.
Same thing with Venomoth, but Venomoth was originally kind of whitish. Perhaps they didn't switch the stats and the designations.
What's interesting is, like, if they had, like, a pre-evolution to Venonat, it would make sense, like a purple Caterpie. You know what I'm saying?
That would be cool, I guess.
Yeah,
but even
like,
without, as a 2-stage, that works.
I mean, because in another generation, Wurmple can evolve into Cascoon or Silcoon, and from there it can evolve into Dustox or Beautifly. I kind of think like that was them revisiting that whole concept and remaking a different Pokemon like that, where it could evolve into either or. I think they were revisiting that in a way, but it would be cool if there was like a purple, pre-evolution to Venonat.
Right.
And then like the last two just got switched.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
crazy.
It's because a lot of people say it's because Ash was supposed to have a Caterpie in the anime. When I've read on forums, I think that's dumb. This was in the game. They didn't change the game to give Ash a cuter Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
But maybe their minds are in the right place in that it was to give you a chance to catch a Pokemon early on that would evolve to something really cute and cool looking.
Right.
That maybe they were like, Butterfree is cooler. We got Pikachu in that forest. We got Caterpies in that forest.
They were probably like, we like this design better. We'll put this with this, and we'll just like put these two together. Sure, why not?
Yeah. So I think we can both say that we both think this is, without a doubt, that's what was originally intended.
Like, it's beyond intended.
There's a few other ones. Carvana, Sharpedo, and Garchomp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sharpedo and Garchomp definitely make sense.
If you look at, Garchomp has a yellow star on its nose, which Sharpedo and Carvana both have. And it's got like fins with like a little notch taken out of it. It's the same color. It makes total sense.
Right.
And even back when Ruby and Sapphire came out, I was like, Sharpedo doesn't look like a fully evolved Pokemon. It looks like there's supposed to be another third stage after that.
Yeah, and Carvana doesn't make much sense with it. If you compare it to to Garchomp and Sharpedo, like, Carvana is totally different. Totally different. Like the star on the head and everything. It's kind of fucked up to think about, like, a Sharpedo grew legs. I don't know. That kind of creeps me out.
Yeah. But it makes sense. It's Pokemon. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, legs sprout out of here, horns sprout out of there, whatever.
Another one that I haven't seen that often, but I think it's worth mentioning. I don't think this is as in your face, like definitely true like these last two. I think I'm willing to say probably were, but some people are saying that perhaps Dragonite and Gyarados were also switched at some stage in development, because if you look at Dratini, Dragonair,
now
and
that
Gyarados,
I think about it, holy shit,
they're all Serpentine. They're all blue.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
And Gyarados is like a Chinese dragon,
I
so it
never
would make
thought
sense
about
for it to
that.
be dragon type. Magikarp is based on an old legend about a carp or a fish that swims up a waterfall. And because it manages to do it, it is rewarded and turned by the gods.
Rewarded with Pokemon status. We're going to name a Pokemon after you.
Yes, it's rewarded. And we're like, you're so fucking cool. We're naming a Pokemon after you. And that was it. And it's like, really? I thought maybe I could get something substantial. And they're like, oh, believe me, in like 35,000 years, Pokemon's going to be the shit.
We're going to name a Pokemon after you. It'll be the Nathasaur.
The gods turned the carp into a dragon as a reward for its accomplishment. And that's what Magikarp's based off of, even in its current incarnation, turning into Gyarados, because Gyarados is very dragon-like. Dragonite, if you think about a Magikarp evolving into a dragon, it makes kind of sense for it to turn into that, because Dragonite is a departure from Dratini and Dragonair.
Yeah, I mean, like in the Japanese folklore sense, yeah, I could see, how it plays into the story. But as for appearance, I can't really put Magikarp and Dragonite together.
It does have Magikarp has the long whiskers.
Oh, okay.
Which Gyarados also has, though. And then Dragonite has long antennae, which look like Magikarp's whiskers, but they're on top of his head instead of coming out from the bottom. I don't know, this one I'm totally on the fence about.
Yeah, it just, like, the Gyarados with the Dratini and Dragonair, like, I could see that, but at the same time, because I always thought that Dragonite didn't quite fit with those two.
Right.
But for the whole Magikarp and Dragonite, I don't see it. So it's like a half.
I
yes,
do.
half
I mean,
no.
I see it, and I'm skeptical. So I don't know. This one we're going to say is still open. The case is still open.
Undecided.
All right, so another Pokemon fan theory.
Here we go.
This one has to do with Gengar, linking Gengar and another Pokemon, Clefable. Are you familiar with this one, Brianna?
I am.
I can't surprise you.
I know.
I quit. This podcast sucks. I'm just kidding.
You get back here. Don't you dare.
Gengar, now this blew my mind when I first heard it too. Gengar, and first of all, Gengar and Clefable are two of the earliest designed Pokemon. So they were both designed in the very early stages. They've been there since the beginning. Clefairy was originally going to be the series mascot. Ash was originally going to have a Clefairy, not a Pikachu, when they were originally planning the anime. And you can see some of the consequences of this in, I can't find the right words, but like there's a manga that's, I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a main character who looks like Ash or Red, and he has a Pikachu and a Clefairy. And
was it the Electric Tail of Pikachu?
No, not the Electric Tail of Pikachu. I have those. This is a different one I don't have. It's a lot more like girly. It's a lot more directed towards girls, and it's a lot more focused on like the relationships, I think, and like he's in love with Misty or something. Hey guys, it's Nathan from the future, just here to correct my mistake. I was actually getting two totally separate mangas confused. The manga that's about Red and his Clefairy, and he also has a Pikachu.
I definitely feel that if Clefairy was the mascot, it would definitely make it more feminine.
My bad. This manga isn't the one that's directed towards girls. I guess the Clefairy is actually like super like rude and crude, and this one's definitely directed more towards boys. I mean, take that with a fucking grain of salt. Be into what you're fucking into. But that wasn't the one I was talking about. The manga I was talking about is called Magical Pokemon Journey. And that's like, there's this girl that has a Pikachu. I think she has a Clefairy also, and maybe like a Jigglypuff or something. And it's super cutesy and chibi, and definitely has a lot to do with like crushes and relationships and stuff like that. Both of them are actually pretty cool to check out, just as like these really cool artifacts of the early days of Pokemon.
I definitely feel that if Clefairy was the mascot, it would definitely make it more feminine. I definitely feel that way. But at the same time, like...
They may have been planning that before they created Pikachu, and then maybe they're just like, oh, wait, guys, Pikachu...
I think Pikachu is the perfect
all the
mascot.
The cuteness fucking sensors are breaking off the wall.
If you think about it, if you look at like Super Smash Bros, like Pikachu is like the only yellow character.
Pikachu, I think, is like one of the most adorable.
He sticks out, and I love it.
He's probably the cutest fictional character ever created in my eyes.
And honestly, I feel that if they chose Clefairy for their mascot, it would resemble too much to Kirby.
Clefairy's cute, but not cute enough. Yeah, it's too.
Right.
It's too just like
it's a lot
short
like
and
Kirby.
Pudgy, and Pikachu
Stands
was pudgier in the early days, but they slimmed him down and perfected the design.
He went on a diet.
But Pikachu just has it's adorable and cute and awesome to everybody. Like boys can like it, girls can like it.
I think
it's
they
badass. It's cute. It's amazing. It's got personality.
The best decision with that.
Yes, Pikachu to this day, not my favorite Pokemon, but if I was given one real Pokemon, I'd take Pikachu. Like I love Pikachu. So I think that was a good move switching it. But Clefairy was going to be the series mascot, which means Clefable probably would have had more prominence, even though Raichu has no prominence nowadays.
Right.
Which is sad. Raichu's so cool.
I mean, with Lieutenant Surge, that Raichu was badass.
It was one episode.
And then Pikachu kicked its ass, and it's like, whoa.
So the theory holds that Gengar is basically Clefable's shadow. That with Clefable serving as like a mascot evolved, Gengar being the main ghost Pokemon and being a Pokemon that likes to pretend to be people's shadows would look like a shadow of the mascot Pokemon.
Oh, definitely.
And if you straighten out Clefable's curls and everything, it kind of...
give her a straightener.
Yeah, it's like spikes. Make it a darker purple, an evil grin.
I definitely see it. I mean, they are mirror images of each other, with the silhouette. Like if they did the Who's That Pokemon, you're going to be a little confused because they look awfully similar.
Clefable's taller, has longer, thinner ears, has wings, but yeah.
But if you think about it, shadows are always distorted as well. So that could still work.
Absolutely. Also, up until Clefable became a fairy type, they weren't able to hit each other with like their signature moves. Because Clefable was normal and Gengar was ghost.
That's awesome. They just canceled each other out.
Yeah. They would be useless against each other. And in the Pokedex, it says that Gengar likes to pretend to be people's shadows. I think this was intentional.
I agree.
It might not have been. The body type it's not like that's the only creature in anime that has that kind of design.
Right,
you know, it could very well just be that they're similar. Just like Pikachu's similar to that little fairy type mouse, electric mouse that came out.
Oh, Dedenne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm going to say with just 150 of them that it was an intentional link. That maybe it's not that Gengar is Clefable's shadow, but that they have an intentional like correlation.
Definitely.
And the last game theory I want to look at is another one of Pokemon relationships. This one between Ditto and Mew. The idea here being that Ditto was a failed attempt to clone Mew.
I definitely agree. Like, there's no...
off the bat.
Right off the bat, like, I'm sold.
All you have to do is show me this Pokemon. Yeah, it's a failed attempt to clone. Look, you melt that Pokemon down, it looks like that.
Either way, though, I mean, but don't you find it interesting that Ditto can transform itself? If faced against a Mew, it can transform itself into a Mew. I don't know. Like, I just think that's so interesting. Like, if it was a failed attempt.
What if they both use transform?
Like, you just succeeded. What the hell just happened?
And the Mew turned into a Ditto, and the Ditto turned into a Mew, and then they transformed again, and then they... Okay.
They kept going until they exploded.
So, the evidence is Mew is supposed to contain every Pokemon's DNA, right?
Yep.
That's in the Pokedex entry. Both of them are pink. Both their shinies are blue. They both are the only Pokemon that know transform.
Yes.
They both weigh 8.8 pounds. Ditto are all over the Cinnabar Island mansion where they cloned Mew and made Mewtwo.
See, that makes perfect sense to me. the fact that they are all like around this laboratory where Mewtwo was created. Oh yeah, it just makes perfect sense because it's like they just kind of throw the Dittos out the window. Like, here you go play.
Well, they're in the mansion. They are other places too, but in the yellow version, Ditto are only found in the mansion and in the Cerulean Cave. Where
Gotta
Mewtwo,
be intentional.
That's where Mewtwo lives.
Gotta be intentional.
Mew's base stats are all 100 all around the board. Dittos are also 48 all around the board, evenly distributed, about half. It makes a lot of sense.
Definitely. And if you think about it, how many times does it take to get an experiment correct? Like all those Dittos, like it makes sense that there are so many of them, so many failed experiments.
And Ditto's based around DNA. He's the DNA Pokemon. He mimics DNA, and Mew is built around like DNA too. Mew's whole story has to do with like DNA. So I'm leaning towards this one being intentional as well.
I agree.
I don't know if I want to take it as it's canon in the Pokemon universe. I think maybe the developers of the game have moved on from that and are just considering them separate Pokemon now.
Yeah.
And I think they're developing the series as if they were separate Pokemon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's how it would work if they, had several different concepts and ideas that got scrapped. They just kind of push it under the rug.
Yeah. New developers have been hired, new Game Freak employees.
Right.
Like, I mean, for example, Junichi Masuda says, no, I've never heard of this theory before. He was like the composer and he worked on a lot of the gameplay. But I get the idea that he's a video game company employee. And he's not one of the creative minds.
Sworn to secrecy.
No.
They have a Poke Code. They can't discuss it.
No, that it's like if you work at Starbucks and someone's like, there's a theory that this coffee was this. And you're like, I don't fucking know. I sell coffee.
I just work here.
Or
Sorry.
Maybe that's more like a GameStop employee than the guy who actually worked on the development of the game. But, like, I feel like he's like, look, my job is to make video games. And I make video games. Like, I don't know about whether or not Ditto was a clone Mew. You guys think too much about this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to make a fun video game and get my paycheck.
Exactly.
And I don't mean to boil it down like this guy doesn't care about his job or give passion into his work. But
it's
maybe
the fact that he's doing a job.
His work maybe is more to do with the composing the musical scores and how the gameplay works and whether or not it's a fun game to play.
Right.
And Satoshi Tajiri and Ken Sugimori and these people that he developed this world with and created the art with probably had conversations like this where they got really animated and excited and they're like, oh, and wouldn't it be cool if while they were trying to make a Mew they accidentally made an act? You know what I mean? Like,
right. It could have been intentional, but we'll never know.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
We'll never know.
That's what I'm leaning towards is like the Kangaskhan and Cubone thing. It was something that they talked about in one of their meetings and it affected the development of these characters.
But it never got completed.
And now it's out of their hands and that's not what it is anymore.
Right. All right, so now we're going to move on to the TV show theories. I've been scouring the internet, and I found a lot of good ones. Like, a lot of them, I mean, there are some things you can pick apart with them, but these are a couple of the main ones. I'm going to start with the coma theory.
Okay, the coma theory.
The coma theory. This one's pretty good.
Every good theory involves a coma.
Yes, exactly. I mean, there are a lot of things about it that make sense. Basically, how this works is Ash was struck by lightning in the first episode. Now, do you remember the scene where the Spearows were attacking Ash and Pikachu, and the bolt of lightning strikes Pikachu, and there's an electrical explosion in the first episode? You remember that,
yes.
Right? Well, the theory states that when the lightning struck Pikachu, it struck Ash as well, knocking him into a coma. So from that moment on, all 700-something episodes is all happening from inside his own head while he's in a coma.
And that's why he never progresses or matures or grows
exactly.
or evolves.
It explains that. It's pretty in depth. Like, there's a lot of different aspects to it that make sense. Some of them are a little overthought, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, I've read about it. Like Pikachu represents his humanity and
there's a lot. Yeah, actually,
Brock represents his repressed sexuality.
Yeah, I actually looked up what a lot of these characters represent, and yeah, that's two of them. So basically, yeah, this explains why he doesn't age, looks the same after like 20 years almost, and how he keeps learning lessons repeatedly, if at all. But yeah, I mean, the series is the result of Ash's subconscious mind, and it's fulfilling his desires and attempting to escape reality. So they really put a lot of thought into this. But like one of the things that the theory states is that even though Ash travels long distances in his mind, he never goes by bike. And it says, and the theory states because he has a phobia of bikes. But the thing is, he rides bikes in a couple episodes.
Yeah, I think
he doesn't travel by bike, but he rides bikes. So it's like, that's kind of weird for me.
It's because he'd be leaving his friends behind because he has to walk with his friends. His friends can get bikes too.
Exactly. I mean, like basically the theory just keeps going in circles about why Ash can't wake up from the coma because it'll give him brain damage. Like that's crazy.
If we can talk about it, like it is ridiculous because if I was a Pokemon trainer, like, dude, I love riding a bicycle and I might still ride my bicycle, but I'm almost like, fuck that. I would have a Pokemon that I could ride because that would be awesome.
Right.
Like,
it's just...
why is there not people riding Pokemon all over in the show? Probably because you can't ride them in the games. And
you can now.
Now you can, but even now, it's only
like
certain Pokemon at certain places.
It's like Mamoswine and Rhydon.
So maybe it was a conscious decision to keep people. They didn't want people to realize, hey, wait a minute. How come I can't ride my Ponyta?
At the same time, this is the mind of a 10-year-old boy that he's apparently stuck in for all of eternity.
I was talking about from the perspective of the developers of the anime.
Oh, okay.
Like, if I was writing a story where people trained giant animals to do their bidding.
Oh, yeah, like it would make so much more sense.
I would have people riding their animals in that show all the time.
That's unless they wrote, like a bunch of 10-year-olds wrote it, like, this works. Oh, didn't think of that. Whatever. We'll scrap it.
But the coma theory.
Yeah, it's just like, it's really in depth. Basically, he can't escape the coma. You know, there's
that's
so
how
many
comas
rules.
work.
There's so many rules about why things are the way they are. So because he can't escape the coma, he can't wake up from the coma. There's a part of him that wants to, and a part of him that wants to stay in there forever. It's weird. Like they just go in so much detail.
To me, though, this is one of those things where it's one of those things where you can almost say anything, and if you're looking hard enough for evidence, you'll find it. You
can convince yourself otherwise.
For anything. Anything. I can be like, no, there's a cow squatch that lives in my backyard.
Oh my God.
And eventually
the
I'll
most
be like,
random
look,
thing you think, a cow squatch.
But if I try hard enough, I can find enough evidence to be like, guys, cow squatch, right?
Can we make this happen? Because that just sounds phenomenal. Let's make the cow squatch a reality.
Why isn't the cow squatch a Pokemon yet?
I mean, if you put a little fur on Miltank, I could see how it would work. So yeah, I'll break down some of the characters and like what they represent in his mind. So Jenny and Joy, it says that he knew them from his town before he left on his journey, and they kind of represent like a safety net or security for Ash.
Jenny and Nurse Joy.
And that's why they're like the same in every town, because that's.
Because his brain's like, I don't know, I'm Ash's brain. You can't expect me to come up with another character. It's Joy again.
I mean, in my own opinion, I think it was kind of a running joke with the animators. Like, we're not going to reanimate a nurse and an officer for every frickin' city. Let's just make them all the same.
And, like, the nurse is clearly based on the nurse design from the video game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's the same nurse in every video game.
I like how they have the whole cousin thing going on. Like, oh, yeah, she's my cousin. She's my first sister twice removed. Like, come on. But interestingly enough, if you pay close attention, the Nurse Joys all have different colored symbols on their hats, and the Jennies have different badges. You have to pay really freaking close attention, but I've seen it. It's actually,
which is
legit.
Not genetic variation, but
whatever.
I want to see a Nurse Joy or an Officer Jenny that's like, oh yeah, we're related, but only through marriage.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. And then Brock just sits there crying in the corner because they married each other and not him. Okay. Yeah. And the professors, moving on, they represent Ash's ideals. Or, you know what I mean? Like, they like just go over the top with this. I'll keep moving along.
Too much.
Brock is Ash's repressed sexuality, as you've stated before.
Because there's got to be repressed sexuality.
And then they made a comment saying that Brock can never get the woman because Ash is so young he doesn't quite understand the sexuality thing. I don't even know. But yeah, that basically explains Misty, who they call her a love interest, but honestly, I just think Ash is too dopey to like understand romance. I mean, because Misty was trying pretty fucking hard.
I think they were intended as love interests.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, Misty represents Ash's female aspect of himself.
Oh, we're getting into some Vedic mythology here.
And then it says unattainable for him because he feels as though people can only have relationships after they mature. And this is all like, yeah, it's just like going...
Okay, Sigmund Freud over here.
Yeah, they're freaking... No, they said the word Freudian in this fucking thing. So, like, they're, like, sciencing it up for us. It's like, okay, like, you're putting a lot of thought into this. Gary is who Ash wants to be. He wants a fucking convertible full of cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Team Rocket is Ash's negative qualities, the things that he doesn't like about himself. And Giovanni represents Ash's father figure, that Team Rocket is trying to appease Giovanni, so Ash is trying to live up to his father's expectations. Like, they fucking went all out with this thing. And then even his Pokemon, Pikachu represents his humanity. He couldn't evolve Pikachu because that would mean challenging his concept of who he was.
And becoming a better person.
Yeah, exactly. Becoming not a dumbass. Like, that's too fucking hard for his brain to handle. This one's kind of interesting. Charmander represents his sex drive. I mean, like, with...
I thought Brock says repressed sexuality.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting because he was stating how Charizard, when it evolved from Charmander, became kind of an uncontrollable asshole. And, like, the theory states... I know, it's just crazy. The theory states that Charizard, like, Ash can't control his sexuality, so he's fucking, popping boners in his hospital bed. I don't fucking know.
This is ridiculous.
I know, it's like, okay, someone put a lot of fucking work into this. It's just crazy. And then in the beginning, it was talking about how, do you remember in the beginning episodes, like, there were, like, actual animals, like fish and
worms. Yeah.
It states that Ash's mind is deteriorating. Because later on, you'll see no representation of actual animals. It's just Pokemon. Pokemon was the world he created for himself. And the fact that he's imagining Pokemon instead of real animals is saying that his mind is deteriorating in this coma. So, and then, like, I got this from Creepypasta. So, at the end, he dies. It's crazy.
At the end, the show hasn't ended yet.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, his mother will pull the cord, like, according to the Creepypasta, and, like, Ash's last words were, "I want to be the very best." He just fucking dies.
Oh, my God, okay.
It's crazy shit.
I'm going to say that this is bullshit. I feel like... First of all the like theories that you can just, like I was saying with cow squatch or whatever, you can make a theory out of anything. The easiest theory is like, oh, the main character's in a coma. Oh, it was all a dream the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cop out. Like, wasn't that crazy? And I like, no. It's,
I think all the details that try to prove it just disprove it in its own right.
Like, I could do that with Rugrats. Like, think about it. The babies talk because, like, all right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I just kind of thought, like, they were interesting points. Like, I'm just like, okay, I could see that. That's kind of weird. It's really fucked up. What?
Well, I'll say the creators definitely didn't intend on that. We can say that without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know that Ash doesn't age because they made it toward that age group.
Yeah, 'cause it's a cartoon that they don't give a fuck about. They're
cartoon.
like, we're just selling video game cartridges. This is just a half-hour commercial for our card game and our video game and our stuffed animals.
Come on, give me a break, man. I like this show.
Okay, fair enough.
I could see your point.
All right, next fan theory.
This one's just a quick one. It's I like to call it Ash's wish theory. Some people say he dies in this. Some people say it's because he saw this Pokemon. So this theory basically just says the reason Ash doesn't age is because the first episode when he sees Ho-Oh, if you look at Ho-Oh's Pokedex entry, it says whoever shall see this Pokemon is granted eternal happiness. And because Ash saw Ho-Oh, his eternal happiness was to forever be on a Pokemon journey. This one's kind of nice. I don't know. I enjoy it. But at the same time, it's kind of like you kind of get sick of that eternal happiness.
Ho-Oh. That's not what I meant. It's like
I'll never
Ho-Oh's...
win the Pokemon League again.
Yeah, Ho-Oh's like the genie that gives you what you want but perverts it. And it's like, no, I still wanted to grow up and evolve as a person.
Right, exactly. Forever. Oh, God. Forever young. The death theory is kind of weird, like the death portion of this, because that's like, that's one version, but the other version is that the lightning killed him, he died, whatever. Ho-Oh felt bad for the poor bastard, and he's like, well, I'm gonna give you your own personal heaven because your Poke journey was cut tragically short on the first day. Way to go, Ash. Really aiming high there, buddy.
It turns out that Entei, Suicune, and Raikou are Ash, Misty, and Brock. Like,
oh my God.
They all died that day, and
that kind of makes sense.
Ho-Oh
it's kind of weird.
reincarnated them as the trio.
That's kind of funny. Oh my God. Wait, which one would be which though? Like I could see Misty being Suicune.
Brock would be Entei, and Ash would be Raikou.
Yeah.
I know Brock has a Vulpix.
Oh, that's true.
Brock
yeah.
has a Vulpix, and Entei seems like the older, more mature, and then
right. And Suicune's the elegant, graceful one. Then there's Raikou in the middle. What's up?
Yeah, you know, water translates to ice easily, and then Ash
the
has
lightning
Pikachu.
Thing.
Yeah,
that works. Okay, well, there's our own.
I believe that fan theory.
There's our own theory.
That was totally intended. The creators intended it without a shadow of a doubt. Okay.
They went to find the mystical
facetious.
Pokemon, but they found themselves.
This is like the trailer for Pokemon as a romantic comedy.
Oh my God. I'll get Nicholas Sparks to write it.
They set out to find 150 different Pokemon. What they really found was themselves.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like the whole he died thing, because that's kind of like, okay, I get it, you want to kill Ash, but like, fuck, dude. Like, there's some people that have some hope for the damn kid.
Do all these fan theories involve bodily harm coming upon Ash?
It fucking seems like it. Oh my God. I mean, the kid has the worst luck, but at the same time, he kind of brings it on himself because he's just cocky for no reason whatsoever. And then, you know, he gets blown up and loses and cries about it. Then he's fine. Then he starts over. You know, it's just a never-ending vicious cycle. I don't know. That kind of seems like a personal hell to me.
I mean, that's every episode of Pokemon in a nutshell. Like,
he learns lessons repeatedly and never seems to remember them or retain any information once he goes to a new region. It's like his memory is like wiped clean.
What Pokemon is that? It's a Krabby. You fucking have one of these, you fucking asshole. And it hasn't seen you in months, and it wonders why you don't call anymore.
If a Pokédex could talk.
It can.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah.
At least in the anime it can.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how it just called him a fucking dumbass in the first episode. Like, the word stupid wasn't there, but he just threw it in.
It was implied.
It's implied that the Pokédex thinks you're stupid. If technology thinks you're a dumbass, that's an issue. And, you know, interestingly enough, I read another theory a while ago, and for the life of me, I could not find it. It was just like one of those Facebook posts that pop up, and you're like, what? Basically, it was something about how it explained why Ash's, like, slate gets wiped clean after each land he goes to. There's, like, two different ways this could branch off.
Men in Black.
Right, exactly. They fucking flash him, and he's like, what? Oh, I'm in a new city. Really? New clothes? Awesome. Thanks, Mom. He only sees his mom for like an episode
it's
every
not his
year.
Mom. It's just like an old guy in black Ray-Bans and a black suit, and he's like, "No problem, son. Go out on your Pokemon journey, son."
That's why we never see Ash's dad.
Pokemon are real.
That's behind the scenes shit.
That's it. Like they fed him the line. This is my fan theory. Okay,
I love it.
Sorry to divert from yours, but Ash was just some kid that saw an alien. He saw a UFO, and he was like, "No, you just saw one of them Pokemans." And the kid's like, "What?" And the kid was already really into Pokemon. We know how into Pokemon we get. So the Men in Black neuralized him and told him he just saw a Pokemon. So now he thinks Pokemon's real. And every region he sees another alien, or I don't know, something happens. He gets flashy thinged again.
That's crazy.
And he resets, and he's just like, "Oh," and he thinks, like you said, he gets more and more into the dementia. Like suddenly he's not even seeing worms or, you know, any real fish or anything.
It's all fucking Pokemon now.
And Brock represents his repressed sexuality.
Of course, because, you know, it's fucking Brock.
In every fan theory. I'm going to include that in the Cubone Kangaskhan.
Ash is going to be a 40-year-old virgin if that's the case.
Well, basically, Kangaskhan was Cubone's mother because of the skull and this, and Brock represents Cubone's repressed sexuality.
Because Brock ain't getting laid. But yeah, it was just like, I don't know, the theory basically kind of explained why Ash had to restart. And then there was another theory that branched off of that, why he always like just takes Pikachu with him. Something about like what happens if the Pokeballs stop working and the Pokemon just become code and Ash has to leave them at Professor Oak's, that's like kind of like the Pokemon are like dying, like they're being left at Professor Oak's. Wink, wink.
Ridiculous.
He
brings Pikachu with him because Pikachu didn't want to go in the Pokeball, as evidenced in the first episode,
and
because they're really good friends.
If a Pokeball expires, so does the Pokemon's life. Like, it's just fucking
and Pokeballs
crazy.
are just cruel. Like, that's
maybe I'm mixing them up. I don't even
That's
know.
one thing it's hard for me to get around. Like, these people turn their Pokemon into data and just store them. Like, that's kind of cruel, especially when the creators go out of their way to be like, Pokemon aren't just animals. They're more like humans than they are like...
But we keep them in a tiny living space.
Yeah. It's like our society supposedly in that world developed under the impression that like Pokemon are equal to humans, but at the same time we turn them into digitized information and store them on a PC drive and put them in Pokeballs.
Exactly.
And, yeah,
it's like a fucking
that,
double standards,
in that
man.
Junichi Masuda interview we talked about earlier, where he said he had never heard of the Mew Ditto theory. He also said they asked him what's inside a Pokeball, and he's like, it's just really comfortable. It's like the most perfect, comfortable place for a Pokemon, so much so that the Pokemon would want to go in there without being asked to. And,
he's just pulling stuff out of his ass at this point.
Yeah,
like to appease the fans, we'll just throw this bullshit their way.
I think it's just that you turn your Pokemon into data.
Yeah,
and and the Pokeball is the containment device, and then you can upload it to a PC also, and like.
But at the same time, it would be kind of cool if that explained it. Missigno, like.
That Missing No had
corrupted Pokemon data.
That is a fan theory, that Missing No, because it affects the PC and the Pokemon in your PC and your Pokeballs, that if you keep a Pokemon in its Pokeball or in the PC for too long, eventually the data becomes corrupted.
And it becomes Missing No.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like, for that side theory, I'd have to say yes. That's very agreeable.
I can't wait to do a Missing No episode. That's one of the things that I started this podcast, like, that's going to be fun. But I'm waiting on that one.
It'll be worth the wait, let me tell you.
There's a few episodes that I'm like, that's going to be real fun, but I've got to save it so I have something to look forward to.
Right. But yeah, going back to the Pokeballs like being corrupted, like, I don't know, maybe that's Pikachu like was probably smarter and was just like, fuck no, I know what happens to Pokemon in there. I ain't fucking going in that shit. Fuck that.
You know how hard it is to get a dog into a cage? You want a fucking smart, independent Pokemon to get into a fucking Pokeball? Even if he doesn't understand the concept of data, fuck no, I'm not going inside that thing.
And it's weird too, because it's like all the Pokemon that like come back in the series, like for example Charizard keeps making appearances. It's because Ash didn't leave in its Pokeball. He left it at Charcific Valley. All of his other Pokemon just fucking died. That's kind of sad. I like Squirtle. That's all right. Squirtle joined like a firing squad.
Yeah,
or some
Squirtle
shit, right?
left. Yeah, right. Became a firefighter. Yeah, that's what happened.
So
right?
they say.
That is. But none of them, Bulbasaur and Squirtle, never evolved, did they?
Squirtle's dead. No, Bulbasaur. No, Bulbasaur didn't want to evolve, and then Squirtle. I don't think Squirtle evolved either.
That's so stupid.
I know.
I don't want to evolve. That's so dumb.
Squirtle's dead.
He did. Squite. So you got one more for us, right?
I do. This is a big one. It is Ash's dad. Who is Ash's dad?
We talked about this a little bit the last time you were here in the secret room, and there are a few fan theories. I like most the one that we talked about last time, which was Silver.
Yeah, I'll go back over that one again. There's a couple different options. Silver, I'll do this one real quick. Richie runs into this guy named Silver.
Richie being Ash's doppelganger, the blonde kid with
Ash's,
Sparky, the Pikachu.
Friendly rival, right.
And he's got a Charizard too, right?
In the Indigo League. He has a Charmander.
Okay.
At the time.
In the Electric Tale of Pikachu comics, Ash faces Richie again at the Pokemon League, which he does in the
series.
Or no, that's where he meets him, right? In the series?
Yep.
Okay, he faces him at the Pokemon League in the Electric Tale of Pikachu comics, but they face Charizard against Charizard, and it's epic and bloody and fucking crazy.
Ash loses to Richie in the Indigo League.
Okay.
Spoiler alert from 20 years ago. Sorry, guys. Richie gets beaten the next one up. Yeah, Richie and Ash remained really good friends. He came back a couple of times, but he ran into this guy named Silver. And if you see online, if you just Google Ash's dad, you'll see this picture of this guy with long silver hair, eyes very similar to Ash's. the reason why there is a theory about this is because when Richie was speaking to the guy, he mentioned his friend Ash, and the guy had a weird reaction.
He's like, Ash?
Right, exactly.
What?
Exactly. He had a weird reaction to it, and it's like, okay, like, that's intentional. Like, you don't
like,
just quit fucking with us. Come on.
Play it cool, Silver. In his head, he's like, just play it cool. Ash!
And then there's like another theory that
Perfect.
it's his
Aced
brother.
it, Silver. You did it. Awesome. Just keep playing it cool. I don't know who this Ash guy is. You gotta leave, kid. Perfect. You're killing it. He has no idea. You're calm. You're cool. You're collected.
Kid's all squeaky voiced and shit. He's like, I don't know who Ash is.
Delia, I've never met her.
Delia, what? But yeah, I mean, there's also a theory that he's his brother as well. I mean, like brother, dad, hopefully not the same in one.
So
that'd be kind of...
That would go with Professor Oak being both of their fathers.
Yes, well, that's another
and
theory.
Gary's grandfather.
Getting into that, yes, that's why that's disproved. They were also saying Professor Oak could be Ash's dad, but the guy, I mean, you can make babies when you're a dude till you're like 90, but come on. I
don't think Professor Oak is Ash's dad, but I do think Professor Oak and Ash's mom have something going on.
Hell yeah. And it's funny too because the narrator actually gives some of it away. It's like usually implied because they're always together, they're always traveling, they're always like at each other's houses and shit. Like something's going on. But there was an episode of Pokemon Chronicles, I believe it was. It's kind of a side series which explains what the characters that everyone cares about.
Was that the one with Butch and Cassidy?
Yep, and like what Misty and Brock are doing after they depart from Ash. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, Pokemon Chronicles.
Oh, okay.
Great series. It's a great mini series. It's cool. Like it kind of shows you like what the other characters are doing.
I kind of want to check. I've never seen it.
Well, you get to meet Brock's mom in one of the episodes.
I remember liking
cool.
Butch and Cassidy as a kid.
Yep.
And then when I found out later as I got older and I didn't give a fuck about the show anymore, I found out that there was that side series and they were like main characters. And I was like, no way.
Yep, they were the Team Rocket that the characters would come across. It's really cool. Like, definitely check it out.
What Pokemon did they have? I know they had Eradicate was their Meowth.
They had Eradicate,
and then they each had a Pokemon too, right?
Yeah, I fuck, I can't remember.
Or no, they shared Pokemon, didn't they? I don't know. I don't remember either.
We'll have to look that up.
We will have to look that up.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, the side series, Professor Oak says in an episode, because the episode Team Rocket invades Professor Oak's ranch. I think that's what it's about. And Delia and Professor Oak are there, and he's trying to write poetry. At the end, the narrator said Mrs. Ketchum thought the poem was written for her, and he's like, but really it was about Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur just like fucking's like, hey, what's up, like so the fact that she thought he wrote a poem for her and the narrator like stated it, I think they were definitely like pushing for that.
I think the narrator is Ash's father.
It's so funny. Back to the coma theory, it says that it's like Ash's like higher voice, like just like recapping the lessons he'll relearn in the near future. I think
the narrator's in a coma. I think the narrator got struck with lightning in the first episode.
That'd be kind of fucking crazy.
And the rest of this was just the narrator in a coma, and he was
just narrator was just narrating. Exactly.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just a narrator doing my narrating thing.
Fucking wing it. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, like, Professor Oak being Ash's dad, there's no way. There's a relationship between him and Ash's mom. I definitely could see it. Even if it's like, I don't know, even if it's like a father-daughter kind of thing. I don't know, because, like, it could go either way.
I think they're fucking.
Drew, do you really?
Yeah, we talked about it last time. I think
the Poke Lab be shaking.
I think Ash's mom and Professor Oak. Also, there is
what's that rumbling? Is it the Tauros in the distance, or I'm not going to continue.
38 Tauros or something else. I don't know if you knew this, but there were novelizations of the anime in Japan. And like, you ever read like a junior novelization of a movie when you were a kid?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Kind of like that. And they give a little more detail to certain things sometimes.
Oh shit, I want to go back and read that.
Yeah, well, they've never been published in America, but they apparently give more character development to like Ash's mom, and she owns a restaurant and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think they make
no wonder her son likes to eat everything in sight. Oh my god.
I think they make it clear that his father left. Like, he went on a journey. They are not together anymore. Like, he's gone or something. And the creators of, at some level, I don't remember who, but someone in an interview said Ash's dad is out on a Pokemon journey of his own, and we would bring him into the show if we ever wanted to have an opportunity to have Ash learn and grow, which to me means we're never going to bring him into the show.
Well, actually, funny you say that, because there was a I was looking up on the Kotaku website. There was actually a magazine that was like doing a Q&A with the character Ash, and they asked, I shit you not, they actually did a Japanese Q&A, and someone asked, like, Ash, who's your dad? And he's like,
so creepy.
no, like literally, he said something along the lines that his father's on a Pokemon journey, and hopefully their paths will cross. Like he said, well, my dad,
Maury,
you are not the father. Fuck, man, I thought it was me. Oh my god. But like, no, seriously, like Ash himself, quote unquote, said, you know, my dad's obviously an awesome Pokemon trainer, so you know, and you know,
obviously
that's an agreement with.
Can you really trust him? He's in a coma.
Oh my god, that's so true. Ash has daddy issues, guys. Really bad daddy issues. But I mean, even the original director of the series had stated the same thing. Like he was saying, like, Ash's dad's on a journey, you know, maybe we'll bring him in sometime, like whatever. But you know, it could happen. But I definitely think it's going to be like a really like emotionally packed episode, because like some of us have been waiting 20 years to find out who the fuck this kid's dad is.
It'll just be a flash. It'll happen. Oh, gee, Dad, good to meet you. I know people have theorized about the guy with the Lucario.
Yes, yep. He's Sir Aaron. His name's Sir Aaron.
But I don't know. I think people are just grasping at straws.
He's not his dad because he was actually brought back from the past. So I believe that they're related. But he's not his.
Oh,
he
yeah,
might be
Aaron,
like his great.
Is it Riley? Is that
Riley,
the other guy?
yep.
There's also Riley.
Yep, he looks similar.
I
mean, it's just whatever. You know, maybe he's already met him. But yeah, getting back to that, another theory is that Giovanni's Ash's dad. Now,
no.
In the manga, it is stated that Delia and Giovanni dated.
Really?
Before she met Ash's father.
I didn't realize that.
I was reading it.
Wow.
A Reddit user posted that.
I did not realize that. I don't buy it though. I mean, especially for when we're talking about the show,
right?
And
we're also talking about Reddit.
Wait, Ash isn't in the manga. Red is, or are you talking about the Electric Tail of Pikachu?
I don't know. It just the article I read just stated in the manga, so it's like one of them.
If it's in the main Pokemon Adventures, as it's known here, or Pocket Monsters Special, as it's known in Japan, manga, then it would be Red and his mother, who I don't think is named Delia, but. Then again, his mom's not Delia in Japan anyway.
Right, exactly. I mean, it could go for Ash or Red. Like, it could, you know, the theory states that he pursued Delia, got her pregnant. Delia gave an ultimatum. She's like, it's either Team Rocket or your son. And he's like, well, I'm going to go to Team Rocket. Peace. And then this is kind of fucking crazy. This theory is saying
I'm a hood rat. I do hood rat things.
It's basically saying that Team Rocket is only purpose. Giovanni asked them to like look after Ash and give him challenges. I'm like, they're just being fucking dicks to your son. Are you fucking? No, this is even worse.
But that's why they never actually
defeat him. Just like make him stronger.
They're still dicks because they hate their job and they
just want that fucking paycheck. This is bullshit.
I hate this fucking kid.
Here's the part that's really fucking crazy, okay? It said like the major Team Rocket crises that Ash saves the day for, like the Silph thing and like any major Team Rocket like world domination thing, was literally just set up for the purpose of Giovanni seeing his son and Ash beating him and making him proud. That's literally what
this is bullshit.
It's ridiculous. Like, okay, I'm gonna make my son proud. Let's fucking blow up the world.
No,
and
but
see
also,
how it goes.
like, his mom. Are we talking about the anime or the game?
The anime.
Okay, because in the anime, like, his mom says your father would be so proud of you and stuff. Like, Giovanni is a total dick in the anime. He hates Ash.
Why the fuck would she?
He has no reason to be proud of him. He's a fucking awful person. There's no way.
There's no way someone would cause mass destruction just to make their fucking child proud by beating them.
And in the games,
that's way too
Giovanni
ridiculous.
is Silver's father. Like, that was a fan theory for a long time, and it was recently confirmed in one of the newer games with the DLC, where you had this whole adventure that proved it to be true.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Silver being the rival from Gold and Silver.
Right.
So then that would be like a whole nother stretch that Silver and Red are brothers, and unless they go on a storyline to hint at that, I don't think Giovanni's Red's father.
I don't think so either. Now, interesting statement bringing Red into this. There's also another theory. This one's a big one. it states that Red is Ash's father. Yeah. Okay. Now, to this argument,
okay.
I feel that the game and the show are in parallel universes, so I don't think they should cross.
But
you know
that's
what I mean?
interesting. Maybe maybe Ash isn't, because we always kind of take it to be like Ash is that universe's Red, and we're always like Red just is so much better than him.
Yeah, exactly.
What if Ash isn't that universe's Red? His father is that universe's Red.
Exactly. Like, that would make so much sense, and that's a point that they get to in this. So basically, this one I got from fanfiction.net. So thankfully, I avoided all the time bombs and
so this is just straight
mental
fanfic.
scarring. Mental scarring.
I don't know if you're avoiding that on fanfiction.net. You can very well stumble into it.
I just Googled, like, Ash's dad, and it's like fanfic.net. I'm like, whatever, just click on it. Like, if I scar myself, may I rest in peace. So, yeah, basically it's saying that Red met Ash's mom on his journey. He had Ash, but he wanted to train more, so he goes up to Mount Silver. So he's there at Mount Silver, for a couple years, and he's like, I'm fucking awesome. I'm gonna go home and fucking make my wife and my son proud. And then who the fuck shows up but Gold, and Gold kicks his ass. And he's like, I can't go home as a fucking loser.
And he commits seppuku there on Mount Silver.
Wow, that's even darker than this story. Holy shit. But yeah, he wanted to train more and battle his son someday because he couldn't come home as a failure.
Oh my god.
And then it also says that Red gave Professor Oak the Pikachu to give to Ash. So it was like set up that way. And that's why Pikachu's so strong, because
so
it's Red's Pikachu.
Okay.
That's why it doesn't like Ash at first, because it's still attached to its owner, Red. And honestly, if you think about it, like the whole Pikachu just kind of being there, like conveniently, that doesn't make sense to me.
I think this is bullshit.
Like no professor would be like, "Oops, ran out. Have this.
Have
one.
a extremely
an
powerful
extra.
Pikachu." That whole episode he's rubbing in his face.
This little shit was digging up my weeds. Take it.
He's like, this is what happens when you sleep in. Like he's totally nope, someone already got Squirtle, asshole, because you slept the fuck in.
He's got him hiding in his pockets.
Why don't you try Charmander? Nope, looks like someone got Charmander too. Why don't you try Bulbasaur?
Oh, he totally...
Try Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
Open the... Oh, somebody took Bulbasaur too because you slept in.
Too bad.
Here,
so
why don't
slow.
you have this ultra-powerful, super awesome Pikachu? What lesson does that teach him?
I just think it's awesome that Professor Oak made him go through all of them rather than just telling him, hey, there's none in there. I think he was just legitimately pissed. He's like, what the fuck,
totally.
dude?
But I mean,
like
as
10
far
years
as,
old, that's no fucking excuse.
As far as this theory goes, I think it's bullshit, but I like it. I think that's I like it. That's cool. Red is Ash's father. I can get behind that.
I just have a feeling that we'll never know. Like, they're just going to keep it fucking rolling forever because, I mean, that'd be cool if they ended, like, the series with that, but I have a feeling that Pokemon's not going to end for a long time.
That would mean that Red faced Misty as a gym leader and then grew up and had a kid, and then Misty was still 12 years old for Ash to have, like, a romantic...
and time loops and shit. I don't know. There'll be a fan theory to explain that, too, I'm sure. I mean, like, there's some crazy ones out there, like, you'd have to... really look it up. Like, there's some dirt.
I have a pretty crazy fan theory to share.
Oh shit, here we go.
This fan theory goes, supposedly, it's like one of those, like, you have to go to Celadon City and then fly to Saffron City and then go down the South Gate, but then press pause right as you go into a battle and then send out a Abra, but have a level 3 Ditto. Like, it's one of those crazy complex, like
codes. A glitch thing?
Yeah. This fan theory is that you have to go to our Facebook or our Twitter, and you have to, like, follow it or like it, and it will automatically help our podcast.
No freaking way.
Another crazy one is you could go check out our sister podcast, and you will automatically get free hours and hours of entertainment and information. It's pretty crazy. It works. It sounds like bullshit, but...
it's fucking awesome.
I've tried it. I didn't just read it on a geocities.com website.
Or fanfiction.net.
I did read it on fanfiction.net, but I swear to God, guys, it's true. It happened to my cousin. There's Joy.
All of our cousins look like fucking Nurse Joy.
Happened to all of my cousins. For real. I do another podcast called Fairpoint, another one called Fair Enough. They're all super cool. And if you like this, you're guaranteed to like that show and find something that you find interesting there and learn something of value and actually do something with your brain.
And find yourself along the way.
And you went to find a funny podcast, but what you really found
was yourself.
Holler at us on Twitter at FairPointPod. Look us up on Facebook, Silph Radio Podcast, Fairpoint Podcast. Send us emails, fairpointpodcast@yahoo.com or silphradiopodcast@live.com. Let us know what you want to hear out of the podcast, and just give us some feedback, and we love interacting with the fans.
We'll never know if you don't tell us, so let us know.
Yeah, if you're listening on YouTube too, please like it, subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe wherever you can. Just whatever you can do to help us out is awesome. And we look forward to hearing from you. From the Secret Room, I'm Nathan K.
And I'm Briana Joy.
Thanks for listening.